these are things that you can do. You can choose auto tone, auto contrast, even though I don't use auto a lot of times. So let me show you the most important one that I always do anytime I am working on any picture. So I click on these levels, and this is what you get to see. You get to see something like this pop up on your screen. Now, what this does is it simply allows you to adjust the range of light to darkness in the image. So let me do that and show you what I mean. So I'm going to adjust this white here. You can adjust this white here. You can adjust this black here. So I'm going to adjust them one after the other. So let me start reducing. Can you see what's happening?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So those are things that I sometimes adjust in my design when I'm working on an image. So if you remember when we did it with Canva earlier on, this is how to actually do a silhouette. So you can literally take it off like this. It becomes a silhouette. And that's one way to create a silhouette. There are about 2-3 ways that I know to create a silhouette. Sure. So that's just one way. So let me try and click auto here and let's see what's going to happen. So you see, the auto did not even make any significant change. So if I do that and I still don't like what I have done, I'll come to this image again, come to this adjustment and click on curves. Now curves, just like that level, curves do something a little bit different. So with curves, you can also adjust the dark and brightness. Everybody, can you see what just happened? What did you notice that just happened?
It became bright, sir.
The image
Yeah.
bright enough.
Good.
Lot of light.
Good. So I added a lot of light by simply adjusting the curves. So sometimes this might be, so for example, when we were doing that Canva design on Monday, and my picture was not properly blending in with the lady's picture, what if it were to be Photoshop, what I could have done would be to quickly adjust just that picture, make all the plenty changes happen, and then I'll just take it off from that color. Now, this is the original color. Can you see this is the original color? In fact, talking about that particular picture, let me use that picture as a case study here. So I'm going to bring it that's my picture now. I'm going to open it with Photoshop and what's the picture again? This is the original picture. So let me use the original picture. So I'm going to right click. Now I want you to please look at this side. Sometimes you will want to open an image, you select open with, and Photoshop is not an option at all. Sometimes it happens like that. Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
When you encounter such challenge, what you simply do is something like open up a space on your laptop, on your Photoshop, and go to the photo and try to drag it into it and see if it's going to work. So, can you see now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So sometimes if it doesn't have that open option, it probably may be due to extension or maybe due to file corruption or something related to that. And then this thing does not work. Wow, light is gone. My laptop may go off. So hold on, people. I need to quickly pass a message to my family members here. So let me quickly speak with my wife. Hello, everyone. I'm back.
Hello, sir.
Yep. Thank you for welcoming me. You're far too kind. So at this point, let's work on this image. This was the image that gave us problem the other time, right? Inside Canva. So let's correct the publish view of this image with what I just showed you now. Now I'm only going to show you this part here. So let me look at. Oh, okay. So this part is not highlighted in our curriculum, so I think it's okay if I go on with that. So I'm going to now, once you drag in an image like that into your design, into your workspace, one of the first things Photoshop tries to do is it fits it into a space and gives you the option to do what's called transformation. So this is called transform. So you can drag it, you can adjust, you can do anything. So I'm simply going to click on do and let it be where it was. And then in order to approve it, what you simply do is come to this up here and click this mark, or you simply press enter on your keyboard. Now, by the way, if I click this, the picture just simply settles onto the workspace. Now, I'm not going to remove the background of this picture. That's not the goal, okay? The goal, who can remind me the goal of this picture, why we brought it in?
If we select a picture
Color
and didn't
adjustment.
see option
Okay,
Want
good.
to
for
adjust the
editing
light.
with Photoshop,
Good. So the goal is to adjust the color. So let me show you how to do color adjustments in case, and this is something that will always happen. And when I say it will always happen, I mean, even if you download pictures online, the picture may particularly fit what you want to design, but it's not going to sit well because of the color adjustments. Let me show you a design that I did last night. Hopefully it's going to open. A design I did last night, that was one of the major challenges of that picture. So I had to now, because CorelDRAW also has photo adjustment, so I had to do the photo adjustment to right inside CorelDRAW in order for it to be able to work. So again now, so that's something you always need to pay attention to. No matter what you're doing, you will not always get the perfect picture. You may not always get the perfect picture. So this is a design I did last night. To somebody who's looking at it right now, we just look at it that, maybe this is ordinary design now. But you also understand when you're working with an image and you need to manage your space so that your design can actually fit in. Now, this is not the original picture. This is not the original quality of this picture. So I had to do plenty of adjustments. And if you're using Corridor, for example, this is where to do that, to come to effect. But since it's not part of our work, but let me see if I can find the original picture. So let me see if I can find the original picture. Let me see if I can find the original picture. Let me see if I can find. So what's that? Israel Adeyefa. This is the first time I'm noticing you in this class, and it's a very, very good noticing. You started sharing your screen. That is very, very amazing. Israel, I'm going to the show participants right now, and I'm going to kick you out right now. Sorry, I'm going to do that, but it was important I did that. So you just interrupted the entire class by showing your screen. I'm going to kick you out first. Okay, you're even living by yourself, thank God. So I'm not even the one living, so you're already living yourself, thank God. So I wanted to see if I can find the original image. Okay, this picture too, I had to do a lot of adjustments yesterday in order for it to fit. So for example, in fact, look at this one here. You will see that I had to make some, now. All the people that used to set things around like this. I'm so on the watch right now. Okay, well, since this one does not want to work, let's move straight to Photoshop and then let's continue. So sometimes your design, your picture will not exactly fit what you're trying to do. So now I'm going to come to adjustments, and then I'm going to first of all choose brightness and contrast, levels, curves, exposure. These are the first places I come to make those adjustments. And then before I start looking at color balance. So for example, color balance is to help you balance the colors. Hue saturation means that, okay, let's do it this way. Everybody, can I show you how all of these tools in this particular image, this adjustment, can I show you how they work? Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that in case you run into any challenge at
Yes,
all,
sir.
they're about to turn on our gen, so there'll probably be noise in a couple of minutes. I'm going to stand up and shut my window. So let's come to adjustment. The first adjustment is brightness and contrast. It's going to pop up something on your screen for you. So once you choose brightness and contrast, it's going to pop up something on your screen for you. Then what you first of all do is you adjust the brightness, means it's going to be very bright. Can you see that? If you take it down, means it's going to be dark. My laptop is now freezing. My laptop is now freezing, which it doesn't do before. Then contrast. Now, anytime you're working with any image, contrast simply means contrast, just as I explained when we're talking about principles of design. The idea of contrast is to create sharp difference between light and dark in your image. So at this point, let me confirm who this unknown user is. This unknown user that unmuted herself, him or herself. So hang on, everyone. So can you see my screen, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You can see your screen.
So as I mentioned, the brightness is brightness. Contrast is that increase between light and dark. So I'm going to click cancel for that. Let me stop sharing my screen briefly. Something interrupted my screen. Okay, so that's that for brightness and darkness. That's our contrast. Then second stage is levels. And for this, the same thing we tried earlier on. So let's now adjust this. If you look at it, I'm moving it this way. Nothing is changing. I'm moving it this way. Nothing is changing. This input level simply means the range between the division, like, how should I explain it now? I should say, okay, you know when you divide something into three, but what will really make the biggest first noticeable difference will be this output level. Once you adjust this output level, input level simply means the amount that goes into what you are doing, while the output is what shows up on the picture that you're doing. So now I'm going to first of all adjust this. Can you see that I've simply taken this output down? I'm taking it back up to 255. And then this output here, I'm going to adjust the black and let's see what's going to look like. Can you see that it's looking like we are deleting black in the entire? Can you see what I'm seeing? Can everybody see this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We can see it, sir.
Okay, good. Now, the next step is to come to adjustment, to come to curves, And these curves, just like as we did with that woman's picture, you can always adjust this white. Can you see? Makes it more visible, right? Makes the picture more bolder, more visible. If I turn this black, it takes it black and makes it dark. Can you see that? Can everybody see that?
Yes, sir. I can see it, sir.
So now I'm going to increase the white a little bit, and then I'm going to make that more like this is the adjustment you are trying to make. Here now. So now adjustment, I'm going to go to exposure. And for exposure, by nature, exposure simply means that the amount of light you let into maybe camera, the amount of light that you allow into your into the range of what you are working on. So if I decrease the exposure, everything just darkens by itself. And if I increase exposure, it brightens. Offset, I don't usually adjust offset, but gamma is like the blend. It's like the flip side of exposure. So exposure simply means if you increase it, it whitens out, it kind of brightens up. So hopefully you are going to see the adjustment on screen. Good. So can you see? I've just increased the exposure. Now I'm going to decrease the exposure by the same -3. Can you see the difference now? I'm
Yes, sir.
holding on right now.
Yes,
Now,
sir. Yes,
can
sir.
you see it at a minus right now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So I'm going to return it back to 0. And then I'm going to adjust. So I can actually type the 0 here instead. I can just type 0. And then for this gamma here, I'm going to adjust it, take it down. Can you see that? And then if I increase it, it makes it. So do you understand now? You remember I said that gamma and exposure is like, oh, they are kind of like the flip side of each other. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to image again, and then I'm going to come to adjustments, and then I'm going to check this vibrance. Now, vibrance means that how bold the colors should be in your picture, while saturation means how visible should the colors be. I'm going to try and repeat that again. Vibrance is how bold your colors should be. Saturation is how visible should the colors be. Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is.
So right now, let's first of all increase vibrance. Let's take vibrance up. And you see what just happened now? What did you notice with the increase of vibrance?
The colors are enhanced.
The color is more dope.
Okay, it looks more dope, but to me, it is artificial. Now, saturation, if I take saturation down, since we take vibrance up, what did you notice with saturation being decreased right now?
It looks black and white.
It looks like black and white.
It's black and white.
Why did it look black and white? Why did it look black and white?
Because the color were not visible in the picture.
We have removed the color from the picture.
Good.
If you
So
reduce the saturation level.
the saturation allows you to see the amount of colors, while vibrance lets you see how bold the colors can be. So again, sometimes when you are working and then let's say you take the saturation up, you can bring the vibrance down. So can you see now? Or you can take the vibrance up and bring the saturation down. Do you understand now? So that's how to create that blend between vibrance and saturation. Now going on to adjustment again, the next part will be color balance, which is where I am really coming to. Color balance is where you make your colors balanced. Isn't that an interesting way to explain something? Color balance is how you make your colors balanced. The interesting thing with color balance is that when you are working on any image or anything on your artboard, one of the primary things you will observe is sometimes one color will be more dominant than other colors. So for example, in this case, we have the blue tends to be very, very dominant. So the blue here is referred to as magenta and blue. So first color that I'm going to adjust is going to be the magenta. I can decrease the magenta right now. Can you see that it looks more like the picture than not like the picture? Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now I want to take it off a little bit. So I want to try and balance the colors in the picture. Now, what do you notice right now?
It's greenish.
It's greenish. Very good.
The colors are changing.
Very good. So I'm going to return back to 0. Now let me adjust the cyan. What do you see right now?
It's more of blue.
More of blue, sir.
And then let me take it to the red. What do you see right now?
Yes, more of red.
And there is more red.
Red, pink, kind of.
No.
So let me adjust the yellow and the blue. What do you see right now?
Very
It's more
bright
yellow
yellow,
now.
sir.
The yellow tint
Like
to it.
white. Very
And
bright.
then
white.
when I move it to blue, what do you notice?
It's so blue and dark.
It's very blue.
So do you now understand how to adjust all of these things now? Do you understand how they work now? Now, so that we can achieve
Yes, sir.
our aim, let me adjust this color. So this color, the way it is right now, what I simply need to adjust will be to increase the yellow. That's how to balance the color out. That's how to actually get it to the actual skin tone, and then to probably increase the red. So this is the real skin tone. So let me do something very funny. Okay, so let me take this out. So look at my video here now. Okay, because of this thing, this place will be dark. Where's the light? Let me turn on one of the lights here. So I want you to. Oh, no, it's not that light. It's the second one. Okay. So looking at me right now, looking at the image, looking at my picture right now, looking at the image, does this brown skin boy look like me right now?
No, sir. With the amount
No,
of
sir.
light.
Not at all,
No,
sir.
sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
What happened? The light changed my skin color. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good. So the same way you also do adjustment of color inside Photoshop, I can also adjust colors inside my camera. So I can balance the colors out now. Does it look brownish now?
Yes, it does.
We are getting there, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it does. There's a change.
So with the brown of my face right now and the brown in the design right now, do we look alike?
Yes, close,
Not
close.
entirely.
Almost.
Closely.
No. Almost.
Photoshop is more
Very
vibrant.
good. Photoshop is more what? Somebody
Vibrant.
wants to say something. It's more vibrant. So me, I'm not vibrant.
No,
I
no,
should
no.
fire you.
Yeah. No, you are the same person, sir.
So I'm turning back off my video. So with that done, so let's say this is the color here. Now, what the final part that I'm going to adjust as well. And the good thing with Photoshop is as you are adjusting as you are making all of your adjustments, you'll probably be seeing them here You'll be seeing it. So you see, I've done column balance, and you can see color balance showing up here. Can you see this?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Smart
Yes, sir.
filters.
Yes,
Good.
sir.
So as you make adjustments, Photoshop tries to store them for you so that it's easy for you to maybe eliminate. So for example, if I want to take off that part, I can simply just turn this off. Can you see now it now looks bluish back?
Yes.
Do you get what I just did? I just simply turned it off and turned it back on. So I can even turn off just this part. I can turn off only this part. I can turn off the entire image itself, and I can turn it back on. So that's how much of creative freedom that Photoshop gives you. Now at this point, let's now work with that curves again. Let's use that curves again to now balance the brightness of the picture. So now let's now brighten the picture, and then let's try and adjust the darkness. At this point, does it look good right now? And by the way, for your information, I'm not the one that edited my own picture, so don't think I edited my picture myself. Because sometimes if you edit your own picture yourself, there will be a lot of bias because you want to make yourself very fine. And if you are not the person who is comfortable in your skin, you make a lot of adjustments that makes the picture become unnatural. So for me, this picture was snapped on a day that I was very, very relaxed. And when I say relaxed, I mean, even when we were going to the place, I slept. I was sleeping like 2 days because I know that what I want to go and do is snap picture that I'll be using for publicity. So I needed my face to be relaxed. Unlike right now, as today, my eyeballs are actually red. That's one of the reasons why I'm turning off the video. My eyeballs are very red. I've been going back to back for the last 2 weeks, particularly intensified when the class started. I've been going from meeting to meeting, from class to class, from session to session, teaching, training, and therapy, all of that going on. In fact, this morning, I've been up very early this morning. I slept around 3 a.m. last. So my eyes are currently red right now. Do you understand? So knowing that I want to go and snap a picture, I had to relax very well first. So I had to take like the previous day, I did very minimal work. This Friday, my wife has told me that we are going for a photo shoot this Friday, a family photo shoot. I already know that my face inside the picture is going to look like somebody who's tired and worn out. So in the next, maybe tomorrow, I'm going to try and just let only this class will be the only thing I'm going to probably put on my schedule tomorrow. I'm going to try and take off the remaining things so that I can rest for Friday. Do you understand? So I already know how my own body works. So sometimes, and I'm saying that because sometimes when picture editing is done, the picture looks completely different from the person in the picture, because you'll not be wondering, you are finer in the picture, you are not finer in real life, which happens to a lot of ladies anyway. So that's done. Let's look at the next option here. So when we come to adjustment again, we can come to black and white. Are you still with me, guys? At this point,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
by 3 o'clock, we'll go on a break. So by 3 o'clock, we'll go on a break. So if I choose black and white simply allows you to turn your image to a black and white picture. So you may do a full-blown design and just render everything together and then make it into black and white. And by the way, black and white designs are usually very, very unique. And when I say very, very unique, I mean, because the world is filled with colors, it's easy to spot a black and white design. Am I correct?
Yes,
You're
sir.
not wrong, sir.
One day, my lecturer, when I was in school, asked us a question. He said that all of us should close our eyes right now, and I want you to try it as well. Close your eyes right now. As you have your eyes shut right now, I want you to bring to mind all of the colors that you've probably seen on screen as I was showing you all these designs. Bring to mind all the colors that you probably seen in your house, all the colors that you are wearing, all the colors around your area, or some of the colors that you stored in your subconscious mind. Now, I want you to start using this saturation tool to start removing the colors one after the other. So start reducing the color. Start trying to reduce the color. Start trying to reduce the color. As you reduce the color, begin to imagine that the world and everything you are looking at is in black and white. So start imagining everything in black and white. What do you think the world will look like if the world looks like that black and white that you can see in your imagination? At this point, you can stop imagining. You come back to class and
The world will
stop
look
going
old,
anywhere.
sir.
The world will
It
look
will
like
be
what?
very dull.
Old school.
Dull. It will be a
Someone said the
dull
world will
word.
look school.
To look lonely.
It will look
Ah,
like
It will be like
1859.
1962, sir.
It will just be very boring.
No
look
joy.
about
So dull.
Like the 90s.
It looks like. Does that mean that in the 90s there were no colors? There were colors those days now. Why are you people mentioning olden
No,
days?
you know that the TV we were
The
watching
world
did
will
not
look
have
black
color.
and white.
No, their eyes were vintage eyes.
There are no colors.
The videos did not have colors because the technology was not up to date with colors. Not like there was no.
So that has installed in our subconscious as colorless era.
But do you understand what I've just made you do right now?
Yes, sir.
So when our lecturer
Yeah.
told us to imagine the world in white and black, come and see cows in class now, and I mean chaos. That was what happened. Somebody pronounced as cows. So when you are working on black and white, sometimes it's good to actually have white and black designs. So here you can adjust your saturation, you can adjust your tint, you can adjust your magentas. This place it actually splits the color for you. So let's see the red. That is what you are seeing right now is I'm adjusting all the reds that can be found in the picture. So I'm making the red black more. Or I can let it be balanced. And the yellows, I can make the yellow become whitish. I can make it darker. I can adjust the greens that are found in the picture, even though there are really no greens there. But let me go to the part that we see a lot of color. This blue. Let's drop the blue. Can you see? The shokoto, the trouser just became very visible. So look at it's looking very white.
Yes, sir. Your face looks shiny.
Good. So that's what and then if I adjust the magentas now, let me adjust the magentas. Can you see what's happening? Can you see how the background is now creating sharp edges? Because good.
Yes,
Because
black.
the most visible color in the picture is the magenta the magenta that was originally creating problem for us inside Canva that day. Can you remember? So it's because the magenta is very much. And by the way, when this picture was snapped, this picture, I'm not even sure it's actually really edited that much. So this picture is direct from camera. In fact, so do you now understand how black works now? How black and white works now?
Yes, sir.
Now moving on, let's see the next tool. This is 3 o'clock. Everybody, let's go on break. We'll start from photo filter and we'll come back. And then we'll now go into advanced background remover. Okay, so everybody, please let's go on break very briefly. For me, I want to go and check my data and confirm that everything is still working fine. So at this point, go on break for 5 minutes. We'll be back by 3:05. And please, everyone, stand up, walk around, move around. If you're already moving around, at this point, you can sit down for the next 5 minutes and relax first. But please, everybody, stand up, move around, walk around, go and drink water. If you like, you can put the ginger inside the water like I am doing here. But everybody, take a break for the next couple of minutes. In fact, at this point, I'm going to mute myself.
Sorry, use this opportunity to fill your attendance, please.
Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Hello,
sir.
sir. Welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you for welcoming me. How is everybody doing?
We're good.
Okay,
I'm okay.
so welcome back.
So what are you eating, sir?
I'm eating the food of the gods.
I would love to partake, sir.
It's not for everybody. I like the fact that somebody is not that I'm listening to what they are saying. Why are you mentioning my name to the people? Do you want to go and add my name to the list of witches? And by the way, if you add my name to the list of witches, they'll just cut a nail.
I'm sorry, sir.
That was how I saw on somebody's status that Association of Witches were having meeting in Osun State. And a reporter was covering it. So I asked the person that, is the reporter a witch too? How did they invite a reporter? So welcome back to class. I'm here to finish what I was eating. So it's kind of creating.
Sir, I'm sorry,
So
sir.
here's what we are going to do. Does anybody have a question while I finish what I'm trying to eat? Does anybody have a question?
Okay, sir. Sorry, I want to ask about something. See,
Okay.
you know, when you brought in your picture, this particular picture now, you resized the image like a bit, then brought it back to normal.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know if it's possible. Maybe you can take some time to explain to us how smart objects work, and I don't know whether it's the time yet, but
How what?
sometimes smart objects.
Okay.
Yeah, I know sometimes you resize the picture in Photoshop and you bring it back and it's all faded, and because of how the pictures are trying to
I'm
create.
actually trying to hear you because of your sound. The room you are in is empty, so the hollow sound is affecting the quality of your voice.
Okay. All right.
So bring your mouth closer to the device.
Yeah. Is it a bit better now?
Yes, it is. So repeat what you said.
What the importance of
I can't hear anything though. The importance of that's the last thing I heard. Please, is anybody else still in this meeting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Hopefully Raymond will ask his question. I believe that was Raymond. Does anybody have a question that you'd like to ask at this point? Nobody has questions. So Raymond, please ask a question so that I can answer it before we move on.
Okay, I was trying to say whether you can take some time to explain to us the importance of smart objects in photos. You know,
Oh,
when
okay.
you bring in a picture and you resize it. When you try to maybe change your mind, I want to bring it back to the size it was before. If you don't do undo, then you kind of try to resize it back, then to change the quality and to blur it a bit, kind of lessen the quality. So I don't know if that can be incorporated.
Okay, thank you for that question. Now, first thing first, if your picture is not blurry before you brought it into Photoshop, your picture will most likely maintain the same quality as it is before you brought it into Photoshop. Also, you can increase the resolution, so to say, of your picture inside Photoshop. If the picture looks blurry, you can actually improve it. You can enhance the picture such that it becomes better right inside Photoshop. Okay. For the smart object part, let me try and answer that question right now. I wish they can actually load this data. Normally when you bring in a picture to a design like that, so I'm going to do something here. I'm going to take this picture and I'm going to take it to another layer and bring it in as a smart object. So can you see right now? I've just brought in that picture here. Now, one of the first things you'll observe is the fact that it's easy for me to move the picture around because the picture from where it was coming from was a layer. So let me delete it and let's get back to that. Now, let me draw in a picture like this. Let's say I'm bringing the picture like this to this image here. Raymond, are you paying attention?
I'm here, sir. I'm here.
Okay. So when I drop it here, what you find is it turns it into a smart object, what you noticed just now. Now, when it turns into a smart object like that, at the side of your screen here, this layer here, what you will also observe is the fact that it makes it a separate layer. Now, one of the things you would also notice is the fact that it also gives you all these adjustments up here. Like you can lock you can maintain the aspect ratio, you can adjust the shape it has, you can commit, like you can enter the transform. Now, one thing that I have learned to do with this is anytime I bring it in, you can adjust to the side. You see the way it's locked right now. So if I unlock this button up here, it makes it easy for me to adjust that. Okay, so you see, it's still not letting me adjust that. However, the question you ask is if I reduce it or I increase it, right? That's what you asked, Raymond. Am I correct?
Yeah, yes, sir.
And then what was your second question? When I increase or decrease?
When you increase the size or decrease the size, and you want to bring it back to that normal size it was before you.
Now I can't hear you clearly. I now want to take it back to the normal size that it was, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. So let's say now that I've reduced it, let's say I've clicked approve, like I've pressed enter, and now this is the size. And I'll say, oh, no, I don't want to use this size again. I want to change the size. And particularly because I have done a lot of other things, right? That's the question you're asking. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So in that case, what you do is you first of all ensure that you select this layer. Then you come to your edit, then you choose transform. So under transform here, you can choose scale, rotate, skew, distort, perspective, warp. All those things that we tried to do yesterday, even though we did not come to this menu yesterday, but we were doing them from the side of the screen yesterday. So in this case, you want to choose transform and then you want to choose scale. It's going to almost select it as you saw earlier on. Can you see it now? Raymond,
Yeah,
can you
yes,
see it now? So
yeah,
at
I
this
can see.
point, you can now drag it back up. So if you choose, you can drag it. Remember that what I chose is what? What's the option I chose?
Transform. Scale.
Then under
I think
transform,
you
I chose
skewed it.
what?
Yeah.
Good. So
Skew.
scale means you can increase or you can decrease, and it's still going to remain exactly as it is. Now, if I choose that and said, oh, okay, good, I'm done. And now I want to now say, oh, I don't want this size again. You can come to edit again and choose transform. But rather than choose just normal transform, you can choose free transform, which is another aspect of transform. So if you choose free transform here, it's going to select that image. And then now look at what's going to happen. So with this, you can adjust, you can take it down in. The picture is logged. So let me show you another thing that may work now. So let me enter now. So I'm going to click enter. Then my picture is just sitting down suddenly somewhere around here. So if you look somewhere around there, you see that my picture is just sitting here. Now, one of the things I can do is that I can right click and choose rasterize layer, even though we are yet to get to that. But what I can do is to choose rasterize layer. It simply just turns that layer. So if you observe, before I rasterize, can you see the layer right now? Can you see there's something like a paper around the layer, just as it is here?
Exactly, sir. Yes, sir.
And then when I rasterized that layer, rasterize, I'm yet to fully understand what that word rasterize means, though. I've never tried to find that. So
Rasterize
once
is just
I
to change it to normal layer.
Rasterize means changing it to a picture.
no, I mean
is,
the word rasterize itself. That's what I mean.
it's the
Rasterize
process of
changes it from
creating the picture or image.
no rasterize as a word. Remove picture from the word from rasterize right now and just what's the meaning of rasterize on its own? That's what I mean. I've never tried to understand what rasterize on as a word means. Do you get me clearly now?
Convert.
Okay, means convert into pixels. I'm checking on my phone right now. Wait, who said that?
I did before.
Okay, so it
I
means
did,
convert
sir.
into pixels. Good. So now that I've converted it into pixel, so I click edit again, and then I go to free transform, and now it's going to show up as what I can now adjust again. Are you getting me? So free transform does not want to work. So let me press enter again. And then let's click, let's say perspective warp. Let's try that. So let's try this. And then let me click apply. Let's see what's going to happen with that. Nothing really changes, right? But then if you click transform, or let's say skew. Okay, let's try skew. Okay, good. Raymond, can you see what I'm doing?
Yes, I can see it now.
That's from skew. So I can press enter. I can come back to the image, click transform. I can choose distort, and then I can adjust any size I want, which was originally what I was looking for. I just did not remember the word. So do you now get it now? So after you've done all of these and you say, okay, you don't want this anymore. And by the way, this is one way to adjust image, especially if you are trying to put something in, let's say you are trying to fit an image onto a screen, like that image that we put on the wall yesterday. So I could have put this and have a frame around it, and you think it was put, that it was originally on the frame. You know, put an image onto any surface. Oh, okay. So that's part of what this allows you to do. So Raymond, did that answer your question now? Or do you still want me to do some clarification?
Yeah, okay. So now, like, I also want to ask on the difference between smart object and a normal layer. Like when you bring in a layer and it doesn't have that sign of smart object, what like the major difference between two of them? That I don't know if.
Okay, that's another question you have in your mind right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how should I answer that question? Go away from my screen now. So how should I answer that question? What's the difference between a normal layer and a smart object? Whoa.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Can I try, sir?
Oh, go on. That's very fine.
Okay, I think a smart object, the way it works is if I place an object into Photoshop as a smart object, then I can, if I reduce the image even to something like maybe 2%, 2%, I mean both length and breadth, and I scale it back up to 100%, it will still give me the exact quality. But then if it was a normal layer, I think if I reduced it, then in trying to scale it up back, the quality will reduce.
Really?
Hello, sir.
I'm getting you.
Then if I save it, if I place it as a smart object, I can usually go into the smart object itself and edit some things that it will be peculiar only to the smart object. Do you get me, sir?
Yeah, gotcha. That's interesting. Thank you for that. But the aspect of reduction, the quality loses.
Permission
I'm not sure I've seen that before. Permission to what? Who's that?
To contribute.
Your name, please.
David.
Oyewale, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go on.
Okay, sir. The difference between a smart object and a normal layer is that in a normal layer, whatever edit you make affects the direct pixels, but in a smart object, you're editing, but you're not really affecting the direct pixels of the image. So thereby, you can easily warp objects around other shapes without really disturbing the actual pixels. More like you're just distorting the container and not the real pixels.
Interesting.
Hello, sir.
Very interesting. Thank you for the answer too.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So Raymond, does that answer your question now? At least I don't know that one, so they have answered on our behalf. So thank you very much. Thank you, David, and the other guy.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
You said because.
No, like normally it might pose a problem at the end of the day, so that you might be explaining something now. Someone wants to try it at the end of the day on his own or her own, and he or she might encounter such problems and it becomes a big something, and it starts confusing the person at the end of the day.
Thank you very much, guys, for teaching me that, because I've actually not tried to understand the difference between them. Of course, I just used it and get my results. I've not really tried to pay attention to see, okay, this is a layer, this is a smart object. And from what David just explained now, I can see that from here, you can see that it's having smart filters rather than a layer. So I think that's very interesting, and I think I like that. I like that clarification of the fact that if it's a smart object, it lets you make adjustments without really altering the entire layer, while the layer serves as a container. Thank you for that. So moving forward from here, what have we not covered here? Okay, we're under image adjustment, right? So photo filter, channel mixer, color lookup, those ones. I can't remember if I've ever used this tree in 4 or 5 years. I can't remember if I've ever used any of this tree here in the last 4 or 5 years. Invert, I use it once in a while, maybe when I'm working on a background, something related to that. So I'm going to click invert right now, and we are going to see what's going to create. So can you see this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Good. So adjustment again, then posterize. Let me click. And the more I increase it, the more it turns it into a cartoonish look. So I can make adjustments to all of these. Do you understand what this posterize is doing right now, or is trying to do right now?
Yes, sir.
Can you see the difference between the real picture and what posterize wants to do? Can you see that?
Yes, sir. Like a painting.
Yes, like a painting. Actually, when I was in school, this used to be a particular type of painting called metal painting. So we paint the metal and then we now dab it on surfaces. Sometimes it's not even metal, sometimes it's leather, sometimes it's rubber. So now from there, let's go to adjustment and let's go to the next tool, which is threshold. I hardly use this tool actually. So can you see what is happening here? Can you see what's happening with this threshold? Can you see that? So what does this try to make it into? A pencil drawing, isn't it? Or do you not notice that it looks like a pencil drawing?
Yes, sir.
Good. And if I want to let it be a pencil drawing, I can just simply go ahead and choose some things, and then I'll balance the color, and then it will look exactly like a pencil drawing. Gradient map, however, looks like you are going from one color to another color. Exactly. So you can choose your colors from this drop down. So if I choose this color, that's what it does. So in some other softwares, they call this kind of thing duotone, pantone. So this is more like a duotone effect inside Canva. So you can choose the different effect. You can choose the different colors, the different gradients that you want it to look like. So that's how that works. And then under image adjustments here, you can look at selective color. Selective color will kind of start picking colors for you to adjust. So underneath this part here, you see this is default, right? Here you can choose all the colors in the design. So in this particular case, let me choose the red. And then let me reduce the red. So the cyan, and then if I take it up, can you see that? So it's adjusting that. Based on the red, I can adjust each element of. Now, what I need to also explain to you with this selective color is that everything I'm working on right now, I'm not working on the entire colors available in the picture. I'm just working on the reds that are available in the picture. So those are the ones I'm adjusting. So you can adjust the part where the reds are and make it red or make it any color. Now you will notice that it's only just my face and a little part of my cloth that is changing, not too much of the entire thing that is changing. Can you see that? Are you observing that? So
Yes, sir.
that's how it works. So if I choose blue, for example, right now, I can actually adjust this blue and correct it and balance it out. So I can adjust this and balance it out. Also adjust it and balance it out. Seeming not to respond, because I would need to go back to this and reset it before I can start adjusting for the blue. So that's that for that. Now for image again, under image here, we have shadows or highlights. Just as contrast did originally, this allows you to adjust the amount of shadow that you see in your picture. So if I darken it, if I take it off, so it kind of reduces the dark corners of your image. And this highlight is the white part of your image. So it kind of increases or decreases the white part of your image. So you may notice that highlights, let me say it this way, highlights are the highest point of light in your image. That's what highlights mean. And the increase of highlights will let there be like there's a lot of light on that image, and when you reduce it, it looks like you are taking out some light. So for example, the light that's sitting on my face and into the background, I'm kind of taking it down right now. So you can see, even though the face still looks clear and everything still looks clear, but you can still see that somehow it looks like the white is gone right now. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And you can adjust the shadow as you have that. So you can also adjust the shadow and all that. So at this point, this is image under image and HDR toning. HDR means high definition, high dynamic range, rather. That's what HDR means. It means high dynamic range. Now, one of the things that high dynamic range is, so for example, look at the notification I have on my board, on my screen here. It says HDR toning will flatten the document. Do you want to proceed? Now, at this point, let me ask, who knows what flatten the document mean? I know the answer, but I just want to
Combine
see.
everything to a single image.
It will combine everything into a single image.
Okay.
To combine all the layers as one to a single layer.
Okay. Who else has a different opinion? Okay, so at this point, nobody has a different opinion, and all of us are correct. Somebody is trying to say something.
Yes.
Say it now, forever hold your peace.
That's what I want to say,
sir. I think Photoshop is bringing this prompt because after we apply this, there's a chance we may not be able to edit it.
Okay, good. Good. So all of us are correct. All your answers are correct. As I mentioned earlier that, or as I was going to mention earlier on, when you are working in Photoshop and you see the word flatten means all the layers are going to kind of be merged together into a single layer. So if I choose, and what I want you to pay attention to is this side of your screen here. So if I choose proceed, look at what's going to happen. Can you see that all the layers turn to a background now? Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And that doesn't necessarily have to happen because you use HDR. It can happen on its own. So you see, it has combined everything. Now, how do I restore everything that I was doing before? Somebody tell me how to restore everything I was doing before.
You undo.
Go to history, sir.
And if I undo and it's not working, good, you go to history. Thank you for that. So you simply go to history and then you start clicking back. Can you see our layers are now restored? Now, another way to do that flatten is to actually select Shift and click everything on your workspace and then right click. You will see flatten image here. So if you click flatten image, everything does the same thing as well. So it doesn't always have to be that the HDR will do it for you. Sometimes you want to export an image, you want to export a design. So so let's say this particular design. If you take this design, aside from exporting from this option here, so if you come to file, under file there's export. Aside from exporting, most times when you save your Photoshop work and you want to try to use it in somewhere else, you will find them in different layers like this. They will, like, you can separate the background from the item, you can take out the item from the background and all that. So that's something that naturally happens with Photoshop. So if you take it to, maybe say you edit your picture, you remove the background, do all kind of adjustments, and then you now say, okay, I want to use this particular Photoshop document inside Illustrator or maybe inside XD. Photoshop will try to bring in everything as different layers matched together into one. And when I say matched together into one, I mean, if you get inside that software, you can still separate the layers one after the other. But if you don't want Photoshop to move it like that, what you simply do is you select your layers, or you can simply just right click here, or you can come to layers up here and just choose merge layers. Where's merge layers? Okay, good. So you can see it here. It says merge layers, merge visible, flatten image. So merge layers means it merges, and you can see the shortcut is Control E. Merge layers means whether it's visible or invisible, it should merge everything. And that's what you find when there are certain layers that are visible. So for example, these two layers are visible. Let me make one invisible here. And then let's go back to the layers and then let's scroll down and see. You'll see that that becomes optional. Can you see? Merge layers, merge visible. But when you choose flatten image, it just flattens everything for you. But before it does that, it's going to ask you a question, discard hidden layers. Do you want to discard hidden layers? If you click OK, it takes off the parts that are not visible. So do you understand what I've just explained now? So sometimes Photoshop tries to do that for you. So when you are working on pictures like that, always be, let me say this way, be clear what you want to get, be clear what you want to achieve, and then, okay, professional tip that entered my head now is that anytime you are working in Photoshop, always remember to have backup layers. Did you get me?
Yes,
Did you get what I
Yes,
said?
sir. Yes, sir.
Always have backup layers. Something can happen to anything and it may have gone very far. And if you choose history will simply eliminate everything you've done. But you still want to retain the things you've done, but have something still looking exactly before you started. So what you can do is you can select this layer here and then simply click on, okay, let me show you. Okay, up here at this layer here, you can simply click duplicate layer. So can you see this? So on that layer here, you can simply duplicate layer. So when I duplicate the layer, it's going to ask for the name that you want to do. Make this. I click OK. It's going to try to duplicate the layer. So what I then do is I simply turn off one while I continue working on one. Do you get me now? That's what I do in my own case. So I'm going to delete that layer and then I'm going to show you a shorter cut. So here, if you want to duplicate this layer, shortcut is to simply drag that layer, drag it to this box here, to this new layer option here. It simply duplicates it for you. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Did you get what I just did just now?
Yes, sir.
Good. So that's that. Now moving on from here, let's select this and then let's come back to the image. I think we are done with the adjustments. Am I correct? Now let's go to the layer option. So we've covered file. Under file, some things, I think I mentioned this file yesterday. If you're done with your design, you can simply export as PNG, or you can choose export as, and you can choose any format you want to use. So for example, in a printing press, sometimes when they want to print something like the banner that you've been seeing behind my back. So let's say something like this. Let me turn on my video and show you this. Can everyone see me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say you want to design something like this banner here, this banner that you are looking at right now. So let's say you want to design this banner that you are looking at right now, or you've designed the banner actually, and then you now take it for printing. One of the first things they do there, and you remember that I told you that in 2010, I actually went to printing press to go and learn work because I wanted to know how does some of these things, how do some of those things work. So I went to the printing press, and that was when I learned that in order for you to print a banner like that, what you do is you export your design in Photoshop as a TIFF. So you export this as a TIFF. As you can see, other option here is not available, but there's a way to get it here. So you export it as TIFF, and then you give them it to printer. So the printer can use that TIFF and get any results they want to get. So this is where you actually choose your format. So you can export as PNG, you can export as JPEG, and let me make that closer. You can export as GIF, as animated GIF. You can export as SVG. Now, what is the difference between these options? I'm not sure we've covered that before. Have we ever talked about the difference between these options before? Anybody? Have we talked about that before?
No.
No, sir.
Not really.
Okay, so at this point, I want you to pick your pen, and then I want you to write this down. So PNG is a particular type of image. PNG means portable network graphics. Oftentimes, they are images that are kind of like the layer that we made rasterize that time. That time that I said that let's rasterize the layer. So PNG are usually images that are made in rasterized kind of layer. That is, they are made in pixels such that if you pick it and take it to any size, they will most likely fit into those sizes. Do you get it now? So you can increase it, you can reduce it. It's still going to maintain the same quality. Do you get that?
Yes, sir.
Good. JPEG, on the other hand, means I think Joint Photography Expert Group. I think something like that has been of JPEG, and it simply means a picture that it's easy to transfer. So the goal of JPEG is ease of transference, such that one major challenge I have with JPEG is the more you transfer it, the more it goes from one device to another device, especially passing through the internet. The more the file quality keeps reducing, the more the file quality keeps reducing, and it keeps reducing, and it keeps reducing, the more it's transferred. However, PNG will continue to maintain its quality no matter where it goes. So in fact, PNG sometimes will maintain the size, it will also maintain the sharpness, but JPEG will continue to lose its own quality the more you share it around. GIF, on the other hand, means graphic interface format. I think that's the meaning of GIF, if I'm correct. I think, yes, graphics interchange format, actually. And is something similar to JPEG, to JPG. The real difference between GIF and JPG is that sometimes it could be in motion pictures. It could be the type of images that actually move. So GIF, graphic interface, interchange. Okay, let me explain it this way. The graphics in the file is actually interchanging. I think that's a better way to explain it. So that means that the image may have more than one frame. That is, it may have 1, 2, 3 frames. So it may be, the first image may be somebody raising their hand. The next image will be somebody bringing down their hand. But it's just one file So because it's one file, it's easy to compress it together into just frames. So it just becomes maybe like a 4-frame picture. So 1, 2 is somebody raising their hand. 3, 4 is somebody putting on their hand. Do you understand that now? So GIF a lot of times are usually images that can easily, that you find in terms of they are moving. SVG on the other hand is called scalar vector graphics, if I'm correct, or scalable vector. I think it's scalable vector graphics. Now, SVG, similar to PNG, in fact, almost all the properties of SVG is same to PNG. The only difference is that SVG, sometimes you can easily change their colors, while PNG, you can't easily change their colors. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
100%, sir.
So sometimes SVG, you can use them to, you can use SVG maybe in an animation, and when you bring it in, the color is not fitting, you can quickly change the color and you are good to go. Unlike PNG, you can't change the content of the file. For SVG, you can change the content of the file. In fact, when you work with, okay, let me even explain to you. Many of the elements inside Canva are actually SVG files. That's the reason why they are pre-made and you can easily pick them up and change their color. So all those gradients that we worked with, all those circles, all those icons and all that, they are SVG files. Do you get it now? While PNG file is the type of file that you brought in when you were doing that carousel, where you had to look for a PNG transparent image. Now, PNG can be transparent and PNG may not be transparent. Do you get that now? Do you understand the difference between the two of them right now? Is that clear enough?
Yes, sir.
Everyone, is that clear enough?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Is it
sir.
clear or unclear? Okay, good. So at this point, you can select anyone you want to export it as, and you can basically choose your own format. A lot of times, you'll most likely be exporting as JPEG or PNG. So if you choose any of them, you reload, then it gives you an option to save. So you see it's here, export all. And if you choose GIF, it's most likely going to show you the 2 different frames or ask you for the 2 different frames. It may do that and it may not do that. It all depends on the kind of file you are working on. Before now, Photoshop used to be used for animation. So that's the reason why the GIF option is still part of it. Do you guys get me? Before now, particularly in the age of Photoshop 5, Photoshop 6, Photoshop 7, those days, somewhere around the bottom here, you will see, what's it called? Animation, something like that. You will see, is it automate? Yeah, no, it's not automate. There's something that you will used to see down the screen then that allows you to, so you can move your, if you are designing something, let's say you design something like my face right now, you can move it to this side and then move it to this side and animate it. So what people will be seeing will be image bouncing off. So when you save it as a GIF, it will just keep bouncing off like this. Do you guys understand now?
Yes,
Now
sir.
for file.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So under file, what part should I explain that I have not explained yet? Again, I'm going to mention again that some of these things you will need to kind of play around and play around. Sometimes you stumble on things as you work inside Photoshop. So I'm looking at some parts that I need to explain that I've not used yet. Layer. So let's look at layer here. So I'm going to select this layer so that layer is easy to pick up from there. So let me explain what layer does. So on this layer here, you can choose new, you can create a layer, or you can create a layer from background. You can create a new group. And when I say new group means that inside that group, you have different layers. Such is the case of what you find with this particular design. With this particular, so let me use this book here. So look at this book right now. If you look at this book right now, in this side of this layer here, what can you see? You see something that looks like a folder, right? Can you see? It looks like folder. So sometimes when you are working, you will need to group your works together so that they are easy for you to turn off, turn on, take off, reduce, delete, adjust, make anything you want to do per time. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So going back to this layer, you can duplicate layer, you can delete layers, you can export, quick export as PNG. So you can export just a layer as a PNG. Again, PNG doesn't always have to be transparent background, but if you make it a transparent background, you will be able to export a transparent background yourself. So export as, you can choose what you want to export as. So you are basically just exporting the layer alone, not the entire design. Do you understand? Not the entire thing that you have done. And then another layer again, you have rename layer, so you can name the layer. You can change layer styles, so blending options, bevel and above, all of these, we are still going to get to all of those ones. Smart filter, you can disable smart filter. So the smart filters that you see here are these things at this corner of the screen here. So you can see this is smart filters here. As I was adjusting earlier on, it was adding them as smart filters. So if I come back here and I choose smart filter and I say disable or delete or disable filter mask, I say clear smart filters. Now I'm going to choose that. Then I want you to see what's going to happen. Clear smart filters. What has happened? What has happened, guys?
It has turned the picture into a blue background.
Good. So it removed everything I had done here. And I could have turned it off here myself and still retained the smart filter. Am I correct? So these are some of the things you need to pay attention when it comes to layer. When it comes to new fill layer, you can create a new solid color, new gradient, new pattern. We've already talked about these two. We've not talked about patterns. So tomorrow when we come back for backgrounds, that's why I'm going to start talking about patterns. New adjustment layer, we've also covered this under image. So these are, and by the way, sometimes you want to edit, you want to make adjustments to some things, you can actually create an adjustment layer such that adjustment layer, the difference between adjustment layer and the regular layer is that all the adjustments you are making, the same way we have it as smart filters right now, all of the adjustment will just be on a layer just above what you are doing. So that way, if you choose, you can turn off the adjustment layer and you still have everything you are doing, just as we have with smart filters right now. So let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to click new adjustment layer. I'm going to call it black and white. And right here, can you see this black and white layer here? Can you see this black and white layer here? Can you see it here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If I choose to, I can turn off that layer alone and everything is still intact. Can you see that? Sometimes you can use this for some very, very interesting parts of your design. And by the way, so that you will also understand today, so that you'll not be like, I did not mention that. For Photoshop, the way you arrange your layers is what you are going to see. So if you want to see something on top and you have it below, like, so let's say I want to show the background, and this background there is down below. My brothers and sisters, it's not going to show. It's what's on the top that's going to keep showing. So it's as you're adding things to it that the layer keeps building up, and Photoshop is going to be showing them based on that. So if you have things that you want to show at the top that are not currently showing, no, just come here, move layer up or move layer down. Do you understand now? Move layer up or you move layer down. Do you get me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So that doesn't look like I did not cover that. The same way we were adjusting layers inside Canva. Can you remember when we say send to back, send to front, send to back, send to front? In Photoshop here, you may not have that option to be clicking send to back, even though that option is somewhere around, I think it should be arranged here. Okay, good. So you can see send to back, send to front, send to back. You can do it here manually. You can do it like one step after the other. But a faster way to do it is just simply drag this and you have what you have on top. and what you need to have behind simply comes behind that. Let me put a pause to this session here, and then when we come tomorrow, we are going to start working on how to create backgrounds and how to adjust. Of course, we were going into more advanced stuff before, right? So by tomorrow, we will continue from here. At this point, are there questions you will want me to answer right now that I should answer for you? This data trial, 60 to the end. Wow. Yeah, now somebody should answer me. Let me check how much is left. Okay, it looks like the data has taken me off.
I'm still thinking of
one question. Okay. Be thinking. Somebody else should not thinking. Somebody should start talking.
Hello, sir.
Hello, ma.
I was going through the tools, then I saw under the eraser tool, I saw background eraser tool. Can we use the background eraser tool instead of the polygonal lasso tool?
The background eraser tool does a different job from what the polygonal lasso tool does. In the background eraser tool, in fact, like I told you yesterday, I've shown you the tools. What you will need to do will be to practice all of those tools, because the more you are using them, that's how you will discover how they actually work in your own particular situation. But for me, I think I even mentioned yesterday that I hardly use background eraser tool. The background eraser tool can work, but a lot of times what you need to understand is if you have layers on top of each other, the background eraser tool is removing the background of the last layer. I don't think it's actually removing the background of the image that you're actually working on. Do you understand now?
Yes, sir.
So if you just have just one image as the layer on your design, on your art space, it's going to be removing the background as if it's removing the background. But when you have multiple layers, background remover will be removing the last background. So that's how I understand background layer to work. But in your own case, it may be different. Do you get it now? So thank you, Rakiyat. I've not heard Remlekun's voice today. Hopefully she'll be fine.
I'm very fine, sir. Yeah.
Thank God, though. I've heard Jelada's voice today. I've heard David's voice today. I've not heard what's his name? This guy that used to wear suits up and down in Telegram.
But you've heard my voice now.
Where are you? Lift your hair. You know yourself. So at this point, it appears there are no questions at this point. So please, everybody, again, I'm not going to be giving you an assignment today, but create anything, walk through the tools, try correcting colors, try editing colors. And if you notice, yesterday we focused more on the tools like the spot healing and all that. Today we didn't even go into that. We focus on balancing the colors and working on the colors on the pictures themselves. Do you notice that that's what we did today? So with what we did yesterday, with what we did today, try and do something on your own, okay? Anangi, it's good to hear your voice today, finally. Abdullah. So
thank you, sir.
All of you should work on something. Where's the edit that was disturbing us yesterday? Edit that you were disturbing us yesterday. Where are you today? You did not come today. Thank God, though. Maybe because you did not come, that's why we have peace today, that nobody was interrupting this thing. Lawal, who was sharing his screen earlier on, hope you have taken care of yourself now. Okay. Does anybody have any questions that I should answer for you right now? Is anybody with a question that I should answer for you right now?
Closing attendance here too.
As soon as I stop talking, actually, they're going to tell you about that. And just as you mentioned, Taiwo, thank you for that. At this point, I'm going to keep quiet, and Mr. Micah and Ms. Mutunrayo can take over from here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye, sir.
Sir. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Yes, sister. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good
Hello, sir.
What's your name? You want to ask a question? You said hello, sir.
Yes, sir. It's Opeyemi Adegoke.
Oh, okay. Unknown user is what is showing here. So,
You promised me something, sir.
like what?
That time when I answered the question.
Yeah, but you not mention. I'm not the one that said anything, huh?
You said you owe me something.
Excuse me, sir.
It's very simple. I will design something, as in the word something, SOMETHING. I will create a very good design with the word something, and I'll send it to you. That's what I owe you.
Hello, sir.
You say,
That's right.
Okay, the person saying hello, sir. I'll think of what to give you, Sha.
Okay, yes.
Okay,
this is Israel, sir. I'm sorry for Adeyefa. I'm sorry for sharing my screen the other time, but I have a question.
Okay,
sir,
your apology is accepted.
Thank you, sir. Could you kindly summarize the whole essence of layers? Just because I was lost at a point, then I got some things, but in essence, could you just explain what layers are all about?
So let me ask this way: did you get the part where I was explaining why you should always try to have your work in layers? Did you get that part?
I don't think I was active then. My network was sort of bouncing here and there. So
okay. So the goal of layers, if you remember when we were working in Canva earlier last week, and I think maybe Monday, when we were working in Canva, you'll notice that sometimes you send things to back, you send things to front, right? All the things that you are sending to back to front, those are layers. But in Canva, they are not clearly stated. So you just be sending to front, sending to back. In Photoshop, they are now clearly stated as layers.
Okay.
So when you were working in Canva, what was layers in Canva? Those sending to back, what did they enable you to do?
I believe you could see what. How would I explain that now? I understand what the layers are in Canva.
They help us to tweak a picture.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes.
And to help you to modify your entire design so that you can let what needs to be on top be on top, what needs to be below be at. Good.
Exactly.
That's the same thing. That's the same way layers work in Photoshop.
Okay.
Do you understand now?
I believe so. I believe so.
Thank you that you believe so. Your faith will make you whole.
It's just that I don't know if I layers in Canvas seems kind of visible than what we do here on Photoshop. But maybe when I start working on something, I would.
Inside Canvas, you will never see layers at all. You will not even see it anywhere it's written. It's only inside Photoshop.
Canva than Photoshop.
By the time you need to do certain things, you will prefer Photoshop than Canva.
Okay. I guess when I start working on things, I would.
Let me also explain by showing you on screen here.
Okay.
So in Canva, you can simply be clicking send to back, send to front, send to back. Here in Photoshop, what you simply do is you move your layers like this. You move it like that. If this was unlocked like this, you can be moving it and be moving it. And you can move this to the top. So the same way you do it in Canva, that's the same thing you do in Photoshop here. Do you understand?
Okay.
Now,
okay. I get it now. I just
the
saw
good
what
part
happened.
of this, you just saw what happened with the white, right?
Yes, I did.
So that's how layers work. So with layers in Photoshop here, you have all of the license to do anything you want to do. But in Canva, you probably are limited to certain features that Canva already has. So for example, here in this layer, I can turn this off. I don't want to see this, but I've not deleted it. But in Canva, in order to turn it off like that, you either have to make it transparent, and sometimes you may not even know where it is again because there's no way to see all the layers that you're working on. There's no part in Canva that you can see it. Do you understand now?
Yes, I do.
Clear now? So thank you very much for asking the question. That probably may even have helped some other people who were too shy to ask questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I have something that I need to set up, so I need to go the next couple of seconds. So at this point, Mr. Micah and Ms. Moturaya, please take over. I've said that like 2 times, if I'm correct.
Sorry, I didn't get you.